All right. So question number one. When did you decide to write What's Radical Love Got to Do with It?
Okay. So just first, if you would, first of all, well, thank you again for the just for the invitation and the opportunity to connect. Um, I appreciate you. Can you just give me a little bit of context about just I just want to know just a little bit more about you, like what year you the students that we're going to be sharing with. I just want to be able to hear that first, and then I'll be happy to give some additional context. I just always like to know
Okay.
who my audience is,
So
and just starting with you.
I'm in my first year in the doctoral program at USC. The program is designed, is really geared towards fighting inequities in urban education
Okay.
and
Cool.
really attacking any inequities that we see. I'm
Cool.
biased, but I would say that a lot of our studies and our readings are very forward thinking. They
Yeah.
are not status quo, and they're
Okay.
not based on the work solely of men who are white.
Yeah.
And with me, I'll just be honest with you. Your writing has really revolutionized my thinking as an educator, as well as my classmates, and we really, we're just, your work is just a real cornerstone of everything we're doing.
Wow, that's humbling. To be honest with you, that's pretty encouraging. I actually didn't know the level of the impact. Yeah, so thank you for sharing that, and congratulations on your award and the great work that you're doing. And please give my best to your colleagues. I certainly would love to be able to connect with them, perhaps in person in the future. I have some good colleagues who work at your institution, including Dr. Harper and others there. So I know you got some good folks there working at your university.
Yes.
Good stuff. So I think I heard your first question was when did I decide to write what's Radical Love Got to Do with It? So the paper emerged out of a doctoral class actually. So encouragement to you and your colleagues. I think grad school is a great time to not just write papers for classes, but I would suggest that anytime you write a paper, you're always thinking about how you can get it to have life beyond that particular class. In fact, one of my professors at the time, her name was Dr. Leila Villaverde. One of our classes actually became it was sort of like an independent study course where she set up an opportunity for us to publish. And so we partnered with another classmate. And so I want to give a shout out and give, a nod my head to my colleague, Dr. Christine Nganga. She's a professor in the DMV area now. And so we collaborated together on the piece. So the paper emerged when I was probably a second to third year doc student. It was probably one of my final classes prior to going to the comps and the proposal stage. And so I was sort of just like many of you all, in finishing up coursework or in the midst of coursework, thinking about how I could answer questions, and also not just answer questions, but offer solutions related to not just the scholarship book that was out there, but my own journey as a scholar and my own identity.
Wow, that's amazing. As far as the length of time it took, it again, I know it may not seem like it because you're close to it, but to me, just the concept of how you laid it out
Right.
was genius. It was really genius, and you made it where anyone could understand it. How long did the process take to put the paper together?
Yeah. So and thank you again. That's humbling. We began the paper. So the nuts and bolts of it were constructed during the course of a semester. Of course, with any editorial process, it ran on beyond that as we got feedback and developed various iterations of it. But if I'm honest with you, to be honest, like portions of the paper, were probably created in other classes from other writing assignments, right? So, I like to think of any product, any research product, every paper, any book is really sort of an amalgamation of a lifetime of experiences, and so I pulled from different things. And so I think that's important for any person who is writing now. Sometimes it can become intimidating when you have a blank sheet of paper and you just feel like, man, I'm gonna write 35 pages. Where do I begin? Sometimes I think it's wise and vital if you can pull from some of the ideas that you maybe have already constructed and finding what are the key sort of undergirding principles and ideas that resonate throughout your work. So if you read my work, you hear words like race, space, and complex space, or, things around identity. Like, these are things I constantly talk about: community-oriented work, community-based pedagogical spaces. Like, all of those terms are terms that you will see pretty much in anything I write, because those are my areas of expertise. But more than that, those areas are key pillars to the ethos of my work. And so, like, my book project, Border Crossing Brothers, is connected to that. So I would be remiss if I suggested, I think it would be disingenuous if I suggested that I just, one semester we just dropped it, boom, like, here's the papers ready. Like, but really it was, I think, it was an amalgamation of ideas and experiences that I pulled together. So, like, when you think about a good meal, many folks probably just had Thanksgiving dinner, or you have a Christmas dinner in the near future. Or, sometimes the best meal is maybe like the day after Christmas or the day after Thanksgiving, man. Right. It's a mixture of leftovers and something fresh, you know what I mean? And so the paper was, I think, an amalgamation of that. But the bulk of it was done during the course of a semester, drawing on previous work, and then going through the editorial process after that semester.
Wow. What would you say, such a big concept, but what is radical love?
So I'm glad you asked that question. So I want to actually turn to the paper for a quick second, and acknowledge the work of Paulo Freire. He talks about love is an act of courage, not fear, a commitment to others, and the cause of liberation. He also talks about this, and he says, dialogue cannot exist in the absence of a profound love for the world and for people. The name of the world, which is, and this is a quotation, I'm quoting from the time I started to speak and pull from the paper. The name of the world, I'm reading from page 9 and 10 of the paper, which is an act of creation and recreation, is not possible if it is not infused with love. Love is at the same time the foundation of dialogue and dialogue itself. So I lean on Freire's work, but to be honest with you, as a man of faith, if I'm honest, like, as I was reading the Freire's work and thinking about, love, and you saw it in the piece, I also thought about the reality that for me, as a man of faith, and as someone who identifies as a Christian, I couldn't separate it from my understanding of Christ, right, and just how radical it is to love in a way that's self-sacrificing, in a way that's not, in a way that's anti-oppressive. And I say that because I think a lot of people have experienced faith, and in particular Christianity, in an oppressive context. Whether it be the oppression of people of color, women, LGBT community. Like the church has been guilty of being the antithesis at times of love, and misrepresenting what I would suggest is a God of love. And so in my work, I navigate faith and education and research in a way that I try to make it relevant and accessible and open, and understanding that not everybody experiences the same way. People may experience God in ways that I may not use the same language to describe it. But I think that there's something radical about understanding that difference and love and hope and the concepts that you the faith, humility, like these terms, I believe, are not just terms, but they're actually realities that for me are actually embodied in a person that's been misunderstood, and a person that I believe undergirds my work, and I believe gives me the capacity to love all people, even if that person doesn't believe the same way I believe. And so for me, radical love is giving space for misunderstanding and loving people anyway. You know what I'm saying? Engaging folks anyway. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm at a point now where I don't care what somebody believes necessarily. I love you, right? And that means doing what's best for you, based on what I understand, but also understand that I don't know all. And so be willing to also learn from you. And that's why I love what Freire talks about when he's talking about dialogue and listening, right? And taking the time to hear other perspectives. I'm grateful for the opportunity when someone shares with me what they think. Like, and so someone said to me recently, like, I just got back from South Africa, and I had 2 students with me working on a documentary And I was asking the students, I was asking them about their understanding of being an executive producer versus a producer, and so the student was like, well, I mean, you are a producer, so don't you know what you clearly you know what it is, right? And I said, well, I do, but I often ask questions about things that I may have an answer for, and it's not because I don't have an answer, but it's because I'm not assuming that my answer is always fully complete. And I want to understand how you see it, because you may have a particular lens that may help me to understand something in a way that I didn't understand it previously. And so I think humility, right? Dialogue, listening, and then recognizing that, man, that we need each other. And I believe that's what Ferre is seeking to help us to understand, and being open to the reality that everybody may not experience it or see it the same way. And yet and still, there's something that ties us all together that I believe is beautiful.
Um, last question, and I also want to let you know, when I say I'm anxious to see your next work, I'm on pins and needles. So, could you let my class and myself? By the way, Dr. Hinga is the one who introduced us to you, so she's doing a phenomenal job. You know, she talks about how awesome you are. But do you have any upcoming projects we can find out about? Are you going to be speaking at any conferences? What's next for you in 2020?
Sure. And I didn't hear the name of your professor. You were breaking up a little bit. I definitely want to acknowledge her and say thank you, Professor.
Dr. Brianna Hinga.
I love it. Professor Hinga, thank you. Please give my extend my gratitude to your professor. Thank you for sharing my work with your students, and thank you to your students for the work that you're doing and the energy and ideas that you bring. I am working on multiple projects. I'm excited to actually be releasing. I have 2 books coming out. So this is a project that's going to drop in the beginning of this year. I'm excited. It's actually a book that I use with my undergraduate students. So it's actually an edited project with one of my grad students. His name is Dr. Soon to be Dr. Rensford Pinto. I call him Dr. Rensford Pinto even before he's a doctor, because we're going to speak those things as though they are. He's from Ghana, and we collaborate on this project. It's called Choosing to Teach, Choosing to See, Critical Readings for those entering the noble profession of education. Then I also have an edited project as well. Another book is going to be published by Teachers College Press. It's called Campus Uprisings. And so that's also an edited volume that brings together perspectives on key uprisings that have taken place, in particular the uprising at the University of Missouri. I'm sure you heard about things that took place on our campus in 2015 and following, as well as I have 2 colleagues, Dr. Kimmett Shockley from Howard University and Dr. Ivory Tolton, also of Howard University, who are editors with me. And there's some of the pieces talk about the uprisings at Howard. I'm also working on, like I mentioned, this documentary project. So I just got back from South Africa, working on a project that's focusing on 2 Olympic hopefuls, 2 women. The project is called Border Crossing Sisters. So my book is called Border Crossing Brothers, but I believe it's critical that we also uplift and encourage and share opportunities for the world to know the great things that our women are doing. And so I'm excited about that project. For me, I'm always trying to diversify, how I share the work that I do, right? So, books are cool, journal articles are great, but the folks that I serve, the folks that I went to grad school to get a PhD to work with, to support, they don't read AERJ. You know what I mean? They're not really so concerned about the impact factor of a particular journal. But they will see a YouTube video. They will, watch something. They're multimedia, right? So that's one of the things a few of the things that I'm really excited about. Other than that, I'm actually working on a book with my son, my youngest. We're working on a children's book. And so I was actually on sabbatical this past semester. And one of the things I wanted to do was to work on a project with my youngest. He's actually going to be 12 in February. So as a rite of passage experience, I want him to be able to have a book that he can have in his hand, that tells his journey. And we're trying to maybe drop something like every Black History Month. You know what I mean? So, for me as a father, it's more than just about, just in the classroom, but it's also about the work I do in the community as well. I'm excited about that work. And ultimately just trying to shift narratives, man, just trying to, pour into others. I've also been working on some other business ventures as well. So I want to say that to the doc students who are out there. USC is a beautiful campus. You got brilliant students around you. I hope that you all will also think about how you can not just mobilize your work, but monetize your work. And the academy is not going to tell you that. So I'm going to just put it out there for you. I really want you to think about, particularly as you're doing urban, engaged in work to empower our urban spaces. That's also an economic imperative, right? And so I really want us, particularly scholars of color, I think we really need to think about this, right? We have great ideas, but sometimes we don't always think about how we can not just mobilize, but also monetize so that we can help others to be able to get access. And so for me, I'm always thinking about how to do that. And I've had some great mentors who have shared similar messages with me. So I hope that will be encouraging to your colleagues and your classmates. And I hope at some point, we'll get a chance to connect in person. Perhaps, maybe, visit to your campus when I'm in the area or at a conference, at some point soon. So thank you for the invitation, and thank you for all the great work that you all are doing there at USC.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for making time, and I will share this with my peers, and we will be following you wherever you go, whatever you do. We'll be following you, not just following you, but we're going to put our money behind supporting your work. We're very proud of you. I'm very proud of you, and continue your great work.
I appreciate it. One last question: What's the name of your class? Just so I know, what's the title of the class that you're in? Sounds like a pretty cool group.
Foundations in Urban Education.
Love it. All right. Well, to the folks of Foundations Urban Education, I hope you all have a great holiday season. For those of you who are, on the Twitter space, it's Dr. Ty Douglas, and my email is douglastyr@missouri.edu. Feel free to reach out if there's any way I could be a source of encouragement on your journey. I'll do my best to do that. So thank you again, Mr. Rocker, soon to be Dr. Rocker. Thank you for the invitation, and congratulations again on the addition to your family.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.